One thing, I'm going to have to change the key to the key of D major, which is what we wrote our blues harmony in, right? Is that correct? Yes? No?
Yes.
Maybe so? Okay. So since we're talking about a scale now, we're going to talk about individual notes. So up to this point, we've been using down here, if you can see my marker, we've been down in the harmony section, but we're going to go up to the melody section today. And as soon as I click on the melody section, you'll see that these notes up here change. Instead of being chords, they're going to be single notes. And the other thing I'm going to do is, because the blues scale is different than the major scale. It's one of the first scales that you probably are going to look at that's different than the major scale itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this to chromatic. Can anybody tell me what the word chromatic means? Take a look at what happened when I put it there. Any guess?
I think it's half steps instead of full steps.
Yeah, so it's all half steps. And if you took a look, how many actual notes are there here?
12.
Yeah, there's 12 steps. This is like if we were playing every single note on the piano. If we were going between the letters D and then D again, and we played every black key and every white key. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I hope so. Okay, so the scale that we're going to be using is based off of just some of these notes. So I'm going to put them down here in this area. I'm going to make them one measure long just so that they're really visible. But we start with the first note, which is the root. And that's also where the name of the scale comes from. This is going to be a D blues scale. Now, surprisingly, the next note is not number 2, but it's actually going to be flat number 3. And usually flat number 3 makes it sound sad. And the blues, I mean, it kind of gets its name from the feeling of being sad, like I have the blues, right? You've heard that before? Probably. All right, and the next note we have after the flat number 3 is going to be 4. Then surprisingly, we have the flat number 5. And you'll see that these ones that are in between, they have both colors. They've got green and it's got 5, which is the next note. And then we have the lowered number 7. And then we have a 1 up top again. All right, so let's go ahead and let's listen to what that's going to sound like. And then we're going to look at what it is going to look like on our actual violin, viola, and cello. So here's what it sounds like. All right, what could you say about the sound of that scale? What do you think?
It is happy and sad.
Yeah, it's both happy
Sad,
and
more
sad.
happy.
It's more sad than happy, you think?
No, I mean, like, it's not sad and it's not happy.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I heard someone say once that the blues music, like as a genre, we sing sad music to make ourselves feel better. So it's almost like positive sadness. I know that that sounds weird, but probably right now all of you guys have felt a little bit of that, is my guess. I know I feel that a lot. Like I'm super happy that my daughter was born, but I'm really sad that I'm not able to be with her yet. And I know it's coming soon, but I definitely have the blues not being able to be with them right now. So for me, that's a big one. So now I want to take a look at what this would look like on our violins, violas, and cellos. So now can you see, I know it's a little bit blurry, but can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we're going to take a look at the violin first. You should be able to see the violin on your screen, and we're going to talk about the actual notes that we need, and we're going to take those notes from the hook theory that we were just talking about. So let's take a look here. So if we're looking at our hook theory, let me move this over to the side. The first note that we need is a D, and this is set up for a violin, but this will work out the exact same way on a cello and a viola. So I'm going to pick a really different color than I've used on anything else, and I'm going to circle this D here. Does that make sense? That's the open string D. What is the next note that we need? Anybody? Take a look here on Hook Theory. What does it show that we need?
F sharp.
Actually, normally we would need an E and then an F sharp, but in this case, it's in between E and F sharp. It's actually the note F. Now, this one we haven't been using on our violin very much. Where is F sharp on our violin? Anybody? Which string and which color? And Cameron, I'm sorry that this isn't applicable to your instrument, but we'll talk about yours in a moment, okay?
Okay.
All right, so the next note we need would normally be this red line on the D string, but since we want to lower it, we're actually gonna move it up here to this white line, and the next note is gonna be F natural. After F natural, we need. Come on, guys, I need your help. We're gonna need G, which is.
F not natural.
No, we don't need F sharp. We actually need a G next. If you take a look here, green is G, right? You see that?
Yeah.
The next note up is a weird one, though, one that we haven't used before. And this is either raised a G sharp, or you could think of it as an A flat. On the violin, where can we play that? Here's A. How do we lower the A? Any guess?
Go to the D string.
Go to the D string. Here's the G. How do I go up to an A flat?
The white.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's the white one, the next one up. Does that make sense? All right, the next note we need, if we take a look here, is blue. That's A, and that's going to be the open A string. And then we're almost finished. The next one after A we have is a C natural. Now this is different than the one we normally play. Normally we play C sharp and it's on the red here, right? How do you think we would lower it to be C natural?
The white above the yellow.
That's exactly right. You're on fire, Jan. All right. Now we do want to finish this whole piece out with a D on top. And where do we play the D on top? And this was from our original D scale. That's right. You guessed it, on the blue one. Does that make sense? So if we look at all of these together, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And let's just take a look here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes. Okay. And one more time just to listen to it. We start here. Now this is 7 notes is different than the number of notes we were playing in the other scales. The other scales had 8 notes. But this one doesn't have the 2 at all. It has a flat 3. Oh, you're not able to hear that, are you? Sorry, I just realized. I switched to screen sharing, so you won't be able to hear that. Okay, so this is for a violin. Do people that play violin feel comfortable with that? Yes, no, maybe so? And I will take a picture of this and I'll put it up on Classroom. Guys, one thing that's also really nice about this here is you can take a look for violin. These are the finger numbers that you're using, and this correlates to the finger numbers that you're using. What does 1L mean? Any guess? Anybody? Right here. It's showing you lower your first finger, but you should be using your first finger, and H means high, means you raise your third finger up here. Or in this one, you could even use your fourth finger lowered down. Both of them work, okay? For a cello, it's the exact same thing for cello and viola, except the whole thing is moved over. So if I was looking here, I'd have open D, I would have F natural, I would have G, and then I would have A flat, I would have open A, I would have C natural, and then I would have D. Does that make sense to people? And that's the same for cello and viola. All right. So I'm going to be I'm going to be uploading all this stuff so you can hear it. But what's going to be really cool is playing this scale on top of your blues track that you made on Hook Theory before. All right, and that's what I want to hear you try to record this week. Now, if you're having problems playing this scale on your viola or your cello or your violin, it is okay to sing it. And to sing it, I would like everybody to take a look at your screen. I'm going to stop presenting this here. All right, and the first note that we're going to be singing is do, and I would like you to do the hand gestures with me. So if you guys have the funny potato stuff, try to match my pitch. I know it's weird. Do, me. So this one is not re, it's actually me, fa. And now so is going to be weird because we need a lowered so. We're going to go so, say. It kind of looks like the Star Trek thing. Say, so, te, do. All right, today we want you to record the blues scale, which I know is going to take some time and it's going to take you a little while to learn it.
For the piano, the scale, do you just play the notes?
You mean for the blues scale?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to start challenging yourself, Anna, the real thing you would start doing is you'd start playing the chords with your left hand and you'd start playing the scale with your right hand. For those of you who are able to challenge yourself already on your instrument, the other thing I would start doing is start applying the swinging eighth notes to the blues scale. So for example, if I had the blues scale going along, how do I set up the swinging eighth notes? I said a boom, chicka-rocka, chicka-rocka, chicka-boom. I said a boom, chicka-rocka. And then that scale would be do, 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 do. And I made a couple mistakes with my hands there. But starting to add that swinging eighth note feel to the blues scale. That's the next challenge. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more next week. But this week, I just want you to learn the notes of the blues scale. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm.
To be 100% honest, I think I might just make an Edpuzzle out of our meet today because I think you guys have been awesome and we've been able to go over all of the ideas that we want. But I might just do an Edpuzzle to make sure that you go back through it and that you are able to record the Edpuzzle part for you.